I'd like to call the meeting to order. First, we have some housekeeping. Since our last meeting, the province has moved to alert level 2. We are asking residents to be patient as we work to reopen the facilities. We're following the guidelines and restrictions as well as make necessary modifications to facilities to ensure the safety of everyone. The update council made earlier to much discussion about the facilities. The town of Placentia has reviewed access to its recreation facilities with respect to alert level 2 guidelines. After careful consideration and much discussion, the town of Placentia has opted to continue one-way traffic of the Great Beach Boardwalk to support physical distancing. The town will continue to make further improvements to the shoulder of Veterans Way. The Willard Hatfield Ball Field and the William P. Hogan Ball Field have reopened with field rolls posted. All playgrounds and parks will be reopened effective July 3rd, 2020. Site safety rules will be posted at each site. The fitness room at Unity Park will remain closed at this time due to limitations with physical distancing. Residents are asked to please be respectful of all rules and the guidelines. June is Pride Month. The rainbow flag is raised in celebration of Pride Month and to honor the LGBTQIA+ and community members of our town. We encourage residents to commit to continuing awareness, inclusion, and acceptance for all members of our community, regardless of gender, identity, race, age, and beliefs. Council extends condolences to the family of the late Alfred Hatfield. Alf was a past employee of the town who worked as a seasonal labourer for our town. Our thoughts and prayers are with you during this difficult time. Council offers congratulations to graduates of Laval High School and wishes the best of luck in your future endeavours. Congratulations to Laval High School students on winning the following awards: John Weber, Male Athlete of the Year; Colby Pitcher, Junior Athlete of the Year; Jacob Whittle and Kate Wadman, Sportsmanship Awards; Ella Shea, Female Athlete of the Year; Lilybell O'Reilly, Junior Athlete of the Year; and Tamara Whalen, Excellence in Fine Arts. Congratulations to all. Congratulations to Brooke Lannon on being named Premier's Athletic Awards recipient for her performance in ball hockey during the 2019 season. Congratulations are also extended to Jordan Pomeroy and Liam Shea on being named Premier's Athletic Award recipients for their performance during Softball Newfoundland's 2019 season. Tomorrow is Memorial Day. Due to COVID-19, the annual ceremonies which will take place at the Cenotaph in Placentia is a private ceremony and not open to the public. However, the town will be recording this ceremony to post online for residents to view. I encourage residents to take a moment of their time out of their schedules to reflect on remembering those that have fought and have sacrificed their lives for our freedom. The Canada Day celebrations will not be going ahead this year, but we wish you Happy Canada Day and enjoy celebrating it in your own bubbles. June is Recreation Month. This year, more than any other year, it is important to remember that recreation is all the activities that bring health and wellness to your life. You can enjoy those recreation activities from the comfort of your home, backyard, or neighborhood. We encourage everyone to get outdoors and stay active. We will now like to draw the winner of our Recreation Month contest. The winner has a choice of a free Fitbit or a kid's bicycle. The winner of the award, the free Fitbit or kid's bicycle, is Sherry Pomeroy. Congratulations, Sherry. I'd like to mention too as well that now that the Atlantic bubble is opening, the town has asked Marine Atlantic to resume its North Sydney to Argentia run to accommodate the tourism industry in our region. I reached out to Honourable Mark Garneau, Minister of Transport, and the Honourable Carla Qualtrough, Minister of Employment, Workforce Development and Disability Inclusion, asking that they are not lose sight of the approximately 30 Marine Atlantic workers in Argentia who are without work because of the discontinuation of the ferry service due to the COVID pandemic. I've received great support from the local MP, Ken McDonald, and it seems very promising that the federal ministers are aware and are reviewing this request for the town. Indications are that something soon will be decided, and we're hoping sooner rather than later. Thank you. Unless I ask for a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved. Moved by Councillor Collins. Power. Second by Councillor Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Show of hands, please. Motion carried. Adoption of the minutes dated May the 26th, 2020. There was one error in the error of the minute. Motion 20141 should read, be it resolved, the motion to approve the request from the Public Works and Public Safety Committee for the expenditure of $20,613.75, including HST, to the Department of Transportation and Works for 250 tons of salt and sand, and 50 tons of salt is adopted. The original motion was for 200 tons of salt and sand and 50 tons of salt. The correction is 250 tons of salt sand and 50 tons of salt. I ask to adopt the minutes of May the 26th, 2020 as corrected. Moved by Councillor Collins, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carried. Business arising from the minutes. Anybody have any business arising? Our action sheet. The action sheet from May the 26th. Okay. Move forward. Committee reports.
Mayor, just back on the action sheet, there was no comment on the assess equipment for snow truck, and there's no status. Is there a status for that one?
Will I see Public Works Superintendent? It's under review. There's still the Public Works is still reviewing that and
okay.
making recommendations for its equipment.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, the Executive Committee met on June 25th. In attendance, myself as the chair, the Deputy Mayor Keith Pearson, Councillor Kay Smith, Mary Green, CAO acting, and Mary Green also recording. We have one motion. One motion is to approve the award of prime consultant services for Capital Works project Clark's Pond to Dumble Water Connection for the connection of the 3 ponds and upgrading of the pump house to Meridian Engineering Incorporated, pending the satisfactory review by the Public Works Superintendent. Moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Collins Power. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carried. There were several items of interest. There was only one recommendation. Some of the interests were, we were looking at the grass cutting and having been addressed, and Public Works Superintendents had also had some work done on the side of the beach road to allow walkers a smoother pathway when they come off the boardwalk and continue on their route. The Manager of Tourism, Marketing and Communications has started work on the promotion of tourism in the area. Ads will be forthcoming on the town's website, Facebook page, and some of the summer students hired by PATA will be creating some YouTube vignettes. The Manager of Tourism, Marketing and Communications has also posted to Sanctuary Theatre Hodge ads for the virtual performance on the town's Facebook website pages. It's glad to see, it's nice to see this being done. It's certainly a little overdue. We get to get it there because with Newfoundland and the staycationing, it's certainly they're trying for us to try to showcase Placentia and encourage Newfoundland residents to visit our town. Again, on alert level 2, we went through this. Everything is okay. The pool project is continuing. RFQs have closed and 4 bidders have been identified through a selection process to continue in providing an RFP. The 4 potential bidders are Brook Construction, Olympic Construction, Lindsay Construction, and Pomerleau Incorporated. The port has written to the town assisting seeking government funding for $150,000 that they have allocated for paving in Argentia. We are following up with Department of Municipal Affairs to see if there's additional money that we can get from the department to assist with this paving. The port has identified and written to the town that their audit is in place 2019, and they have identified that the payment the town received for its bill tax was underestimated by $79,916.80. An invoice for this amount has been issued for the port, and payment will be made. The estimated payment in lieu of taxes for 2020 year is $580,620. The invoice has been issued to cover this estimate. A paving tender for the road in Dunville is supposed to close in July. This is paving that the Department of Transportation is doing in the provincial government along Route 100, and again some paving at the end of Southeast. It's anticipated that it's in July and an early approval date, so we will soon see some paving and thus much needed road. Thank you to all. Any other questions on the executive? Hearing none, we move on to the Finance Committee report. Councillor Smith. Councillor Smith, you're on mute, please. Sorry. Hello.
Okay.
Yes, good.
Okay. The Finance Committee met on June 24th, and in attendance was Councillor Jane Hines, Deputy Mayor Keith Pearson. I was there as chair. Mary Green, Manager of Finance and Acting CAO from staff, and Catherine Smith as recorder. And we made the following recommendations. That council approved the accounts payable transaction journal dated June 18th, 2020 in the amount of $29,962.26. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Deputy Mayor, any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approved the check register for the operating account in the amount of $171,476.32 for checks numbered 028620 to 028681. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Councillor Collins Power. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approved the special accounts check register for the month of June 2020 in the amount of $180,423.39. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Deputy Mayor, any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approved credit adjustment to account number POWEA006 in the amount of $595.61 as the house was removed from the property as per correspondence received June 1st, 2020. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Councillor Collins, any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approve an adjustment to account number ISLAN001 in the amount of $400 due to closure of business as per correspondence received on June 15th, 2020. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Councillor Collins Power. All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approve an adjustment to account number KELLC004 in the amount of $280 to reflect the correct charge for water, sewer, land tax of $100, as the house was removed from the property as per correspondence received on May 21st, 2020. So
Moved
moved.
by Councillor Smith, second by Councillor Collins. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approve request from the Placentia Area Historical Society for a one-time payment of $1,500 to help cover cost of maintenance at the Anglican Church site. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second, Councillor Hines. Any questions? All in favour? Councillor Fitzpatrick, you have a question?
I do. I was trying to get off mute.
Okay.
Has there been any approach to any funding organizations to cover that amount? Or was the request just made right to Town of Placentia?
That request was made to the Town of Placentia. I think that's to cover partly the cost of the surveying that they're having done, but they are planning on projects for other costs that they're anticipating.
So have they approached ACOA for funding around some of this so that the percentage would be less for their contribution?
I'm not sure. What about Rhonda, do you know?
Okay, again, if there's no understanding if there's other funding being approved or requested, it's a request to the Town of Placentia for the $1,500, which is to help with the maintenance or to help with the acquisition, I guess, and the transfer of the property would be the part, right?
I know, Mayor, but I'm asking for additional information around if the request is the $1,500 the whole cost of the piece, or has there been funding applied for, and this is the percentage that they require to put forward?
So can I ask the mover and the seconder to table the motion until the next meeting and we get some further information?
I think they said that half of it was being covered by them and they needed the other half for us to assist with, and then extra costs that they've got there too.
Okay, do you want to continue with the motion or do we want clarification to come back to council?
I would like to see clarification come back to council.
Okay, I'll ask the mover and seconder if they would table the motion to bring it back at the next meeting. Moved by Councillor Smith. Councillor Smith, would you table the motion till the next meeting?
Yes, yeah, for the next
and bring
meeting.
back some further information.
Okay.
Okay, and the seconder was Councillor Collins, I believe, was it? Yes. Are you agreeing again? Okay, so we'll table that motion and bring it back at the next meeting.
Yeah, I just hope it don't, for $1,500, I don't hope it don't move.
It will hold them up.
Hold up the movement of transfer from the Anglican Church to the Historical Society and cause them some grief, because you know how long sometimes funding takes to get. Maybe if we did do the $1,500, is it possible that if they applied for funding that they would have to pay a percentage back to the town if they didn't get it? Or do you want to continue on?
Well, I think that it should certainly, the mover and the seconder has agreed that it go back, so there's no motion on the table. Deputy Mayor right now, so. Councillor Hines, I believe you were actually the seconder to the motion, so. Right? I really feel that, yes, you know, there's support for some further information for councillors to make a informed decision. We should look for that. And again, if it's a $1,500 expenditure, you know, we can, and if it's something on the go that the management can reach out to council to see, you know, how we with further information be given, if everybody's in agreement with that. Okay.
As this would be a prudent time for anyone, for especially that group, to have any chance of making any money and doing any kind of programming with that property for the summer. You know, it would be best if we could get this done or get this information ASAP. And like the mayor said, I'd like for this to go forward. But I also agree with Councillor Fitzpatrick saying it is due diligence to find out if they've managed to look for funding elsewhere. I don't think it would be very good for us as a show of our partnering with the Historical Society to wait till later on the fall to deal with it.
Okay, so we'll move on. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. And again, management will review it and get back to us.
Mayor, and can I just speak to my point of asking for clarification? And that is really only around due diligence. That's not that I
No.
am opposing this development, but, and I understand the critical timeliness of being able to do things. But I think at the same time, we also need to ensure that other avenues have been explored and that if there is funding out there available.
I
Yes,
concur.
Councillor Fitzpatrick, I certainly just understood there you're looking for clarification.
Yep.
You know, the record would show for further clarification as outlined.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Councillor Smith, thank you. Right.
Okay.
Councillor Smith.
That council approved request from Public Works and Safety Committee to replace the Town Hall rooftop unit. Work will be completed by NL HVAC Limited at a cost of $12,925 plus HST to supply and install one 5-ton replacement unit as budgeted.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Second, Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All
I
in
just have
favour?
one.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Fitzpatrick.
I'm just looking for, do we have a timeline on when that will be complete?
Obviously, it was within 4 weeks. I'm
Okay.
getting the recommendation. It's within 4 weeks, and it was through a progress RFQ process.
Yes, I know that. I was just looking for the finalized date of completion.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Collins?
How old is the piece that's there now? That
Since the construction of this building,
okay,
however long that was, it was when the building was built.
okay.
Okay. And if you remember last year, there was some concern there to do some replacement parts on that unit. And I believe the replacement parts were, almost the cost of the replacement of the unit.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
That council approved request from the Regatta Committee for the town to help offset some of their expenses through a one-time only contribution of $321.31 to go towards the payment of their Eastlink and Bella Line bills for the month of June.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Councillor Collins Power. Any questions?
Mayor, I have a question.
Okay, Councillor Fitzpatrick.
I'm just,
Just stop for a second, Councillor Fitzpatrick. I'll just ask people, I'm finding it difficult that if you're wanting to speak, just put your hand up closer out there, because I see Councillor Collins also had one, but I just cut it after. So if you are recognised or if you're making a motion, supported motion, like try to get it up higher there so I can actually see. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Fitzpatrick.
I just wanted clarification. I thought that a couple of years ago we were providing contribution to the Regatta Committee for their Eastlink and telephone bills due to the camera surveillance. Am I correct on that, or am I?
I'm being advised by the acting CA that no, that's not the case.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? Councillor Collins. I can't hear you, Councillor Collins. You're on mute. There you go.
Mr. Mayor, it says only for 1 month. Is there a reason why only 1 month, just for clarification?
It's actually the June invoice all there, and they're actually going to discontinue the service after June because it was, they didn't realize or didn't anticipate the closure of the Regatta. So it's there, and it's not. They're actually having it cancelled after this. So.
Okay.
Any other questions? Councillor Fitzpatrick.
With respect to the cancellation, my understanding previously is that couldn't be cancelled due to the Wi-Fi or the internet and the phone line were needed for the camera and security.
No, I'm not sure, and I'm just getting different messages. Obviously, the request was just for the one time, and that's the motion on the table. If it's going to be for something different, it'll have to come back to council. Okay?
No, it was just stated that they're cancelling after this month. But
Yes.
my understanding is that the Eastlink bill, the Eastlink and internet and Bell Alliant were needed for the camera system to work up that way.
For
So,
security, for the
For
security
security
system to work.
purposes. This is a town-owned facility, so I have grave concerns about this if it's only one.
Yes, obviously management
And
will check
cancellation.
that out because we want to make sure that we do have the safety security of the town property. So again, the motion's on the table to request a one-time 321.31 for the East Link and Bella Line, and I'll call for the question. All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approve request from the Public Works and Safety Committee to approve $6,000 for equipment rental and exploratory investigation for a flooding issue in Jersey Side.
Moved by Councillor Smith. Second. Deputy Mayor. Any questions? Councillor Fitzpatrick.
Is this in reference to the flooding issue that we were discussing on the bottom of Jersey Side?
Okay. It's in response to some of the water issues and the hole up, and the Public Works Superintendent is needing to do an evaluation of the whole system over there in relationship to the flooding. Yes. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank
That
you.
council,
All for the question? All those in
Mr. Mayor.
favour? All in favour? Show of hands, please. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I had-
Councillor Collins.
Mr. Mayor, I had a question. Is that just for the flats? Because we did have another issue up on the other end. So is that for that one too, or is it just for the flats?
That was there on the flats, right?
Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
Councillor Smith.
that council approved to write off outstanding interest in the amount of $2,503.12 and commercial property tax in the amount of $2,728.70 on account HYNES001 as the company is no longer in business. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Smith. Second. Councillor Collins. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
Okay. And the only other thing that was there, the manager prepared a fiscal summary from 2017 to 2020 was circulated and reviewed. And we're asking all committees to complete a budget review for the next meeting.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Smith, because the suggestion would be that management review the budgets and identify any cost savings in light of the COVID pandemic, and, you know, obviously participated reduction in our revenue. So we would ask all committees and, you know, management to review their respective budgets with in light of trying to see if there's any cost savings within their budgets. And I'd like to see that even being done, you know, for September, that we could probably try to get something in a revised budget by September, October this year from the Finance Committee, which would be, if we could do something in that. Thank you. Any other questions? Move to the Public Works and Safety Committee report. Councillor Collins Power.
Our committee met on June the 23rd. In attendance was myself as chair, Deputy Mayor Pearson, Adam Green as the Public Works Superintendent. Catherine Smith was our recorder. Councillor Collins was late to the meeting due to work commitments, and she joined us at 8:10. We have the following recommendations from this meeting. The committee is recommending that council approve permit application for Thomas and Anne-Marie Barry to construct a deck at 11 Murphy's Lane. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second by Councillor Collins. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The committee recommends that council approve application from Thomas and Anne-Marie Barry for residential extension at 11 Murphy's Lane. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Councillor Collins, any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The committee recommends that council approve application from Zach Green to construct a garage at number 136 Southeast Road. So moved.
Okay, one moment, Councillor Collins Power. Ms. Green is stepping out due to the conflict of interest. It's her son's application. Yes, it's going to be recorded by taking over by Councillor or Ms. Power will continue the recording. So once again, go ahead, Councillor Collins Power.
Committee recommends that council approve an application for Zach Green to construct a garage at 136 Southeast Road. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried. Ask Ms. Green to come back, please. Go ahead, Councillor Collins Power.
The committee, I lost my paper. The committee recommends that council approve an application from Matthew Griffin Jr. to construct a shed at number 92 Old Settlement Hill. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Councillor Smith. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
Committee recommends that council approve an application from Lance Buffett for remediation to property at number 120 Charter Avenue. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Councillor Hines. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The committee recommends that council approve application from Stephen and Susan Bartlett to occupy a residence at number 8 Kelly Crescent. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Councillor Hines. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The committee recommends that council approve an application from Janice Green to construct a shed at number 176 Bonds Path. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
Mayor, the next item is my brother-in-law, so I will declare a conflict on that. So I guess I could ask one of the other members to read that one. I'll ask Ms. Power to remove me from the meeting.
Okay, and I'll ask Deputy Mayor, you're also in attendance at the meeting, if you would take it over, please.
Sure.
Okay. You're on mute, Deputy Mayor, sorry.
Sorry. Good.
Okay.
Good to go. Committee recommends that council approve the application from Patrick Power to install an in-ground pool at number 24 Harbour Drive. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor. Do we have a second? Councillor Hines. Can we also put in there that following I think we had regulations actually for a pool, did we?
There is regulations for a pool with fencing and other things that are involved, and we were told at the meeting that it's all up to code, so we can just put it in as per pool regulations if you want to add to it.
Yes, if we have the regulations, we should just make a reference, and I understand that, yes, it's there, but just for the motion, the regulations, if you agree to that, Deputy Mayor?
Sure.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favour? Motion carried. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We'll ask Councillor Collins Power to return to the meeting. Can we get Councillor Collins Power to return to the meeting?
Yep.
Here we go.
I'm here now. Okay, our next, the committee recommends that council approve an application from Alison Hardy to construct a garage at 533 Southeast Road. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second by Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The committee recommends that council approve an application from Fergus Duke to construct a shed at number 8 Power Street. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Councillor Collins. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
Committee recommends that council approve an application from Danielle Call to construct a garage at number 9 P4 Place. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Councillor Collins. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
Committee recommends that council approve an application from Stephanie Flynn Norman to construct a garage at 1235 Main Road. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Councillor Smith. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The committee recommends that council approve an application from Shannon Mead for a residential development at 172 Bonds Path, with the stipulation that the town is not responsible for flooding or erosion that may be caused by the brook drainage ditch that runs adjacent to the property. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, seconded. Councillor Smith. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
Committee recommends that council approve an application from Shannon Mead to construct a shed at 172 Bonds Path. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Councillor Collins. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
Committee recommends that council approve application from Ambrose Nash to construct a patio at number 14 Burnt Woods Place. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
Committee recommends that council approve application from Joseph Dolomond to construct a shed at number 10 Old Settlement Hill. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Councillor Collins. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The committee recommends that council approve occupancy application from Stacy Hancock to operate a home-based business at number 1119 Main Road, pending confirmation of Government Services Center approvals and exemptions. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Councillor Collins. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
Committee recommends that council approve application from Lauren Collins to construct a garage at number 1 Dixon Street. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
Committee recommends that council approve application from Lily Pottle to construct a shed at number 4 Eveleys Hill. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Deputy Mayor, any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The committee recommends that council approve that the development permit application include town land development regulations. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Deputy Mayor, any questions? All in favour?
Oh, she has a question.
Who's his question?
Councillor Hines.
Sorry, Mayor, I have a question.
I
Could you
couldn't
explain-
see you, Councillor Hines. I'm sorry about that. Yes? Or got off my screen. Go ahead, Councillor.
I'm waving here like I'm going to take flight. Could someone explain that a bit to me, please?
Which is this?
The 20, number 20.
Recommend approve development permit application include the town land development regulations. Do you want to give us an update, Councillor Collins Power?
My understanding was that it's just so people are understanding that of what is involved with the process, and that when they put their application in, they know what they got to do to.
It's
After-
a checklist that's been done by management, that go along with any development application, so we can sort of know that everything is being approved or why it's not being rejected. It's just making it a more easable thing for the committee to understand, in dealing with the application and approving of the permit process.
So is this in a booklet form, or you're just telling them to go to a website, or is it a printed?
It's actually a sheet. It's
Yes, that's what I understood anyway.
my understanding is that it's a sheet that's going to be included with the permit, so you actually know, and it's going to be outlining and being approved and sent to the committee, such as if it meets the side yards, if it meets the rear yard, if it meets the zoning, so on and so forth. It's part of the development process.
Okay. Okay. And do people have to tick yes, say they read and understood it? Is that part of the process?
I'm not sure of the.
I don't believe so, Deputy. Do you? I don't.
This is actually an internal process, I believe. That because once we do it, obviously the first part of an application, you have to ask, is it in the correct zoning for the application? Then we have to concern about water. We have to concern about sewer. Then we have to concern about setbacks and maybe parking and so on and so forth. So it's an internal application that's being done, and it's being verified by staffing that yes, it meets all the regulations prior to being presented to the committee for approval.
And Mayor, with that in your package this month, there was a new form that is outlined. If you see under the things, it's a much better process. But making sure that the water and they're doing everything right with the town regulations is making sure that was in there. There was some gray zones before, whether that was included. We just want to make sure we clean it up and tidy it up and make sure it all looks fine.
Okay, good. I didn't review that, but I certainly will. Thank you for explaining it.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Collins Power.
There was a couple of other items I can just briefly go down through. Just that the committee discussed going forward residential occupancy permit approvals. They won't have to go through council for approval. The public works superintendent will ensure that everything is in place there prior to approval. However, the commercial basis, yes, they would have to submit an occupancy permit that would go forward to council.
I think every approval, even for an occupancy, even though if the process will be that, management can actually give the permit, will still have to be a process to come to council. So I think then that your committee, would be reviewing the occupancy approvals were given, not to delay and hinder the applicant. However, any motions for permits or stuff there still have to come through council. So that would still have to be.
Okay.
So simplifying it for management to be able to say, yes, issue an occupancy permit, without waiting for council, but permits require motions of
They
council.
still have to go. Okay.
Yeah. So even an occupancy permit, we still need a motion of council. So to simplify the process, yes, if a public works superintendent reviews it and it's meeting all the guidelines, there's no need to delay waiting for a council meeting for the occupancy permit. It can be done, but again, it has to be ratified at a public meeting.
Okay. Just another couple items. Past practice allowed our residents that they did not require a permit if they were rebuilding on the original footprint of an accessory structure. The committee discussed it, and we're not, by doing that, we are not following town regulations. So, and getting the proper records for assessment. So going forward, any development will require a permit approval, regardless if it's going on that original footprint. That's what our committee is wanting to change, because right now we're not within the town regulations.
So we had a permit is that if it wasn't, the process was, and I'm not sure how it's against the regulations, the process was that if you were, example, taking down a patio and replacing the patio with an existing patio, there's no need of a development regulation because it's only replacing a patio. And we've done that, in previous practices. It's the same as we had a general repair permit one time. If you were replacing a window, replacing a door or shingling or whatever, we actually asked for a general repair permit. But the process came to be that it was, detrimental to residents in trying to get through a permit process to do such stuff when it was actually only doing some maintenance on their properties or the buildings. So I'd ask there, again, before we make a motion on that, to actually come up with something more, in keeping with that there again. Like I say, to me, I cannot support if somebody's doing a replacement of a window or a patio or something's all there, that yes, we have to wait for them to go do the maintenance on their property to come back for the permit process. And I can't see.
No, my understanding, this was for rebuilding. This is so what I think was happening was that people were rebuilding on the original footprint, but the building itself was not, was coming back, and it may not be the same because we're not approving it. It could be any kind of a structure on the original footprint or even moved from the original footprint. So it's a rebuilding. I understand, Deputy Mayor, that it was anything to do with changes to the accessory building. It was rebuilding.
Exactly. It was, and the footprint is in our town regulations. That they are supposed to come for a permit. That's in the regulations, and that's what I'm understanding is. Public Works Superintendent might be able to shed some light on the reasoning why on that. Further enlighten everybody on the reason we talked about, but that was my understanding. It's not for general repairs. It was not for that you talked about, Mayor, to homes or general repairs. It was changing footprints. And we're seeing now that there's footprints in the community that's being changed, and people don't have to come for a permit. They're building up or they're doing other things, and we're not requiring a permit, but they are changing the structure of their building upwards, but not changing the footprint.
Okay, but if you're changing a structure, obviously out there, the structure, or again, if I'm reading right, all of our development regulations also have height restrictions, so on and so forth. We have to make sure that it's, the width, the height, whatever the case may be, we have regulations. So again, I don't think it was anticipated that if you had an original building that you could just keep building and building and building, though you never changed the footprint, you were still changing on the height restrictions. So anyway, I think
but that is an incident that has happened though, and probably even a couple. I know of one for sure it's not the same as the original building.
Okay. So based on that, there it's just for
accessory,
new construction or accessory.
New construction and accessory.
Okay. So is there a motion to that?
That's not. Do we need to have a motion for? I wasn't sure.
I think we're just following the regulations within the guidelines.
Yeah.
Just highlighting that the regulations are there.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we'll move.
And that's about it, I think. Yeah, and we're working on the, in the next couple of meetings, we'll be working on the RFP for the superintendent will be, garbage contract and the snow removal. And paving is happening. The boil order is still in effect. And like I said, the motion was forward for the exploratory investigation on Jersey side on the flat. So that's been approved. And I think that's all I had this time.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Collins Power. Next, we'll move on to the next committee report. I believe Cultural Tourism and Beautification Committee.
Our committee, can you hear me, Mr. Mayor? I took her off mute.
Yes, Councillor Collins, everything is good.
Our committee met on June the 11th by Zoom teleconference, and in attendance was myself and Councillor Smith and Ms. Power, and Ms. Catherine Smith is recording, and Councillor Fitzpatrick was left early due to work commitments. We didn't have no recommendations at this time. We had some discussions around beautification, community beautifications. One of the topics was over at the Fort Louis site in Jersey side, which we are doing some stuff with. We just made each other aware, or want to make the residents aware that Parks Canada is open, Castle Hill is open, and the centre is closed, but there is a there is staff up on the hill, and it's a one-way walkway. One of the other areas that we had discussed which was discussed earlier, so I'm just going to, there was no recommendation on that one. Also, the 350 committee meetings, with everything and with all the pandemic stuff still on the go, we were trying to hold off to see what the new rules would be. So there's still some decisions to be made and some final announcements to be made. So we'll be making that hopefully within the next little bit. And that's about it.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Collins.
I just have a question. I'm not sure if Councillor Collins knows this or not. I'd wondered, are the washrooms open on Castle Hill? Would you know? Because I know a lot of places are not open in the washrooms.
No, I didn't.
I don't know if you know that or not.
I've been up on it. Like, the centre's not open, so I doubt if
not
the
open,
washrooms
right?
will be open.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to.
I don't believe they are open, Councillor Collins. No, right?
No.
Councillor Smith.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that we got the statue of Bernadette moved out in the grotto, by the grotto, and we're going to paint up the statue of Mary, and we're going to put some beautified, put some flowers around her, to some hostas or bushes or whatever.
Yeah, thank you. Very good job to keep all this stuff in memory and try to keep it, preserved. Good to
Mayor,
hear.
I don't know if you can see me, but I have a question. It's Jane.
Okay, Councillor Hines, I'm having trouble. Yes, when you speak, you jump on front screen. So if you do, you get a chance. If I'm not seeing you, I'm not ignoring you. I don't get to see you.
Afraid I scare you.
Go ahead.
Quick question on, I know Fort Louis, I know they're doing work over there, which is great to see. Fort Frederick there, it's still noticing that it's closed. Picnic tables do allow for social distancing. Is that open now? Will it be open? It's
Hopefully
mowed.
soon. Well, I guess it was like, because that's a fair open space, so I guess that would be, Mr.
Nice
Greenwood.
Councillor Collins, yes, tonight, we dealt with that into the parks and the open areas tonight. I believe that, yes, they are all covered together. The parks and the playgrounds are covered together in the report, Councillor Hines. So, yes, July 3rd, all this stuff will be open.
I have another quick question on tourism-based stuff. Where Marine Atlantic is closed, and that was the main washroom for people, are the town washrooms going to be open for the general public?
They're closed as well, to my understanding. Again,
So we have no washroom facilities at all for anyone coming through Placentia.
Well, I guess unless businesses have support, Placentia Mall, Tim Hortons, the businesses, whatever the case, I'm not sure. Right? Again, I guess the committee should certainly go back and try to see if there's any plans that we can do to accommodate the request. So, okay. and certainly is great points, right?
Well, back to communicate. That should be in the communication then as well for tourists
Fitzpatrick
too.
has her hand up to be, right? Councillor Fitzpatrick.
I know that, Mayor, you're suggesting it go back to the committee, but if it goes back to the committee, the tourism season is going to be over.
Councillor
So-
Fitzpatrick, we won't need somebody from the committee. If a committee sees and have an understanding out there, management obviously can, make those decisions. This don't need to be, right? I believe that the Activation Health and Safety actually closed the town house washroom itself, right?
Okay. All right.
Okay. So again, if it's regulations committee discuss, management has a right, to open and close these facilities if they determine that yes, it's a requirement. Okay. So any other questions on the report? We'll move on to the Recreation Committee report. Deputy Mayor.
Recreation Committee met on June the 10th. In attendance was myself, Councillor Hines, and Councillor Collins Power. Mr. Green, the Public Works Superintendent, Ms. Power, the Manager of Tourism, Marketing and Communication, and Ms. Catherine Smith was the reporter. We already talked with the ball fields, and they are currently, we have no recommendations, by the way, for this month. The ball fields are right now opened, and the signage is in place. And I believe people has been using that, from what I can understand, for the last week. The alert levels for facility closure and open, we dealt with that earlier in the mayor's preamble, and he talked about that. There were some requests for softball minor use, and we'll look at that, as past practice, whatever they did before. The recreation budget, we're going to review the full recreation budget, understanding that we know that the expenditures have to come down because the revenues will drop this year. So we have to find ways that we can mitigate whatever way we can to help bring the budget in as a balanced budget, as we were looking for when we started the budget prior to COVID, of course. Recreation month, and you drew for that earlier, Mayor. The PATA Recreation Beautification Programs. And Mrs. Power will be handling that through the PATA Recreation. And students will complete beautification project over the summer, as well as offer a virtual recreation program for children in lieu of the summer camp. A list of projects received from PATA was reviewed, however, subject to change as new areas of beautification may arise. The splash pad that was put out on tender again, as you know, last year was put out in December. Coming in a lot higher than what it was. There were some tweaks or change made it, and it was re-tendered again. The maintenance and playgrounds we talked about earlier. The regatta ground did have some vandalism earlier this month. It wasn't as much as that was originally thought. There was some steps and some boards and that beat up, but overall there wasn't a lot of damage. I believe it was all pictures and that are taken, and the management was taking care of that. And other than that, there was the pool meeting, and you updated on what was on the go to pool earlier. So that was pretty well it for recreation. Most of the time was dealing with over recreation as things evolved with the opening of the tennis courts, of course the playgrounds, the gymnasiums, the walkways. There was considerable time and energy taking care of that, and I thank council tonight for their input on that. Everyone had certainly had good input and good ideas of where we are and what we should be, and various opinions on where we are. And I guess that's just the way it is with COVID-19 now. There's a lot of people in a lot of different places, and we're trying the best we do to follow measures to keep everybody safe.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Next thing, community engagement and communications report. Councillor Hines.
Thank you very much, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to thank our manager, Rhonda Power, for pumping out a bit of information there the past couple of weeks. Again, it's been a very difficult time for communications, because as soon as we have everything kind of agreed upon to move forward with, we have to change it. She's being, it's a fluid situation, and management is being as fluid as possible in our communication strategy. I think that within the next 2 months, before we hit into the fall for kids going back to school, or if and how we move forward into September, that the way we communicate probably won't be changing from the way it is now, with our municipal highlights not being really given out in paper form. It's more of a digital, and I think people realize how important digital is. I think we need to, make sure that we're on par for what we're wanting to put out or what it's required to put out. I know that it's pretty top heavy right now with the way it's done. Maybe we can have a different strategy. So we're looking at how it's being rolled out, who's doing it, and we're interested in making sure that's best for everybody. The age-friendly committee circulated the minutes for the review, and I think there's not going to be any age-friendly event this year. They're looking at a virtual event. It's being explored. Again, people are just trying to figure out what to do and how to do it. We did Municipal Awareness Day, and actually for our strategy for the town, we put out some information, or Ms. Power put out some information on explaining what each department has done. And what responsibilities that like Public Works would have and what they do and that kind of stuff. So it was more of a municipal awareness week, and we still have more to come on that. Our communications, COVID-19 communications plan is referencing everyone to go to the government website, which is most active and up to date for all the information going out. We talked about the circulation of correspondence procedure. I know as a part of council, we're all kind of not just looking after our own committees, but we try to be responsive and as informed as best we can to all the residents who come to us and ask questions. So, the circulation of our communication within council to make sure we're all up to date on, or at least on the pertinent things that may be asked of us by the public. We're looking at a strategy of how we communicate or when we communicate. So it's not just before our meetings and stuff. So we're all kind of aware of things that are happening or issues. So we're looking at that. We're going to have input actually from all the different committees and maybe a quick report mid-month or something. So we're looking at information from the other committees to see, or actually from all council to see how that would go forward. So the meeting was adjourned, and I know we have a lot of work to do, and we're trying to be as responsive as possible. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hines. And yes, indeed, we are getting the message out. We are going to do stuff in the community, in the communications. We can never do too much, but certainly sure we're certainly doing good, and good to see. Next committee, Economic Development Committee, Councillor Fitzpatrick.
We had actually a stakeholders meeting on May 27, 2020. In attendance was myself as chair, Councillor Collins Power, Councillor Collins. Our resource was Miss Green, and there were a number of stakeholder representatives from the College of the North Atlantic, Placentia Area Development Association, Argentia, AMA, Port of Argentia, the AMA, Chamber of Commerce, Royal Bank of Canada, Avalon West CBDC, and we had a couple of individuals who had regrets from TCII as well as ACOA. We started off the meeting, we don't have any recommendations at this point. We started off the meeting with a presentation from the president of Seafair Capital, just outlining potential initiatives that could be considered by the stakeholders around the table to move forward for the upcoming tourism season around the promotion of staycations. One of the things we talked about, and Ms. Green, my understanding, followed up with around the summer students, was doing a virtual marketing of attractions that are within the Placentia area, utilizing the youth to do TikToks or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or media, some other social media around that. Not professional little clips or anything like that, but these are the things that are being used out in today's market around promoting Placentia as a place to visit. We then went on to further discussion around economic development, around some of the limitations that are being experienced due to COVID-19. Each of the organizations shared some of the things that individuals within their organizations that they're dealing with, their clients are struggling with, as well as there was a lot of sharing of information of new programs that had become available. So, for example, the CBDC has a new program now that's offered to businesses, and they don't need to be current clients of CBDC to upgrade their place of business with PPE or possible renovations in order to reopen their business. And RBC also went over their loans programs to the business customers, where there's a potential of a 25% write-off if the loan is paid back by a certain time frame. There's other additional supports to businesses, and I've spoke at this at previous council meetings. We did also talk about doing some video and virtual presentations, and the potential of the Historical Society actually looking at this for their summer students, as well as Placentia Area Development Association. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. One of the things that we did do is we updated the businesses open and operations list that was completed earlier during the pandemic. That was a valuable piece that the stakeholders thought that was very useful for the residents of the town, as well as supporting the businesses of letting them know what would be available and what times. That's basically it. We have our next meeting on September 16th, and pending COVID restrictions, this will potentially be done virtually. And if it's in person, we'll determine a site. One of the other pieces that has come to my attention as well is the Placentia Bay Industrial Showcase is also recommending canceling their 2020 event for this year due to the COVID situation and the limitations that are now being in place.
Okay. It is cancelled, yes, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Councillor Fitzpatrick. Have anybody got any questions?
Mr. Mayor, can I, sorry, can I have it noted, Ms. Power was at that meeting because I didn't know if I was going to be there because my work schedule, sometimes I don't get to the meetings. And I recommend that she attend to also, just in case I don't get to it my schedule. But she was at that meeting, but it was just, you know, forgotten there. So can you make sure that it's entered into it? I didn't realize it till she read it out. So can we just have that entered that she was at that meeting?
Okay, Councillor Collins, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, no, thank you. Move on to correspondence. Thank you all. Anything under correspondence? Other business of councillors. We'll start on my right. Councillor Collins Power.
No items necessarily. Just wanted to say thank you to our cleanup workers and our public works crew who have been out doing the never-ending task of trying to clean up. And I see, like you said, one day is totally clean, next day the cups are back again. So I just wanted to say they're working really hard at getting that and trying to keep up with it. I know it's feels like it's never ending. And as you said earlier, it is June, is Pride Month, and I did notice that the sidewalk was done. It must be done recently, or either that I haven't been in Placentia in a while. But it's nice to see that the sidewalk is back up again by the hotel there.
Okay, thank
and
you.
That was it.
Okay, Councillor Collins and maybe Collins Power again. There was a suggestion on the just what was your first point you were going to make? I meant to make a comment. Your first point you just brought up.
Littering, Mayor.
Just now?
Littering. I know you're
Littering.
The littering, yes. Okay, there you go, the littering. Again, Councillor Collins Power, I'll ask you to put it on your agenda again, because we were going to come up with a bylaw regulations for businesses to actually be trying to start with the, with you know, having the mandatory bylaw for them to have receptacles in proximity to their business. So I'd ask you to put that on your agenda. And I think that, you know, the town has identified additional dispensers that we're going to be doing, and I understand that Public Works is working on that. So throughout the town, we will have some more places there to be putting a refuge. So hopefully people may start utilising those instead of just throwing it out the window. Okay, thank you. Next, Councillor Smith. Councillor Smith.
Hmm. Yeah, I'd like to say congratulations to Laval, to the 2020 grads, and happy 153rd birthday to Canada Day. And let us not forget those people at Beaumont Hamel, those 801 brave men and boys, actually, who donned the uniform and picked up a gun so that we may all be free. 68, I think, next day answered the roll call. So that's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Smith. Yes, for certainly sure we all take a moment to reflect on the sacrifice. Councillor Hines.
Thank you. Again, I reiterate Councillor Smith's points as well. I have a question about the lift bridge in Placentia. The walkways to it, the actual part that lifts up is clear, but the walkways to it has this real loose gravel that you use for sanding and stuff. It is extremely slippery, and it needs to be swept up or cleaned up because it's also deteriorating. That's real fine grain sand is also deteriorating the concrete, and you know, with a brand new beautiful bridge that works most of the time, would be really prudent for us to keep it in working order. I know that there's an issue with water running off the sides because it is up a little bit higher than the roads. And if you had anyone in a wheelchair or a baby stroller or a bicycle or anyone who is visually impaired, or even in the nighttime where it's difficult to see with the lights, there are significant dips in that where the water runs off. And, you know, it's, you know, we have to do our due diligence to make sure every residents are safe, and it's the only way to walk across. So we need to put our letters out again to whoever looks after that. I know that's not the town's, but the town can certainly bring it up. I noticed at 6 o'clock the other morning when I was walking, and it was still quite wet out, and it was just like, you know, slipping on ice. It was so loose gravel. So I really think it's also narrowing the pavement because it's about 1.5 feet onto the pavement already. So that needs to be looked after. And again, you know, tomorrow morning is Newfoundland Memorial Day, and after lunch then is Canada Day. So as you drive by Jersey side, you'll see all my Canada Day flags. I'm not going to light up anything, I don't think, with the rain, but who knows? Yeah. Safe. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hines. And again, Mr. Green has made note of that, so I'm sure that he will be reached out to the transportation to rectify the problem. Thank you. Councillor Fitzpatrick.
Well, I want to echo Councillor Smith's and Councillor Hines' comments around the Beaumont Hamel and Canada Day celebrations. Canada Day celebrations is a different way of celebrating this year. We usually do a good fireworks display with our firefighters and our fire department, and this year we will not be having that. However, we can all still celebrate the successes and the birthday of Canada and the Beaumont Hamel that has allowed us to have our freedom, just in a different way. I know that there's a number of individuals that are wondering about why decisions are being made and which the way they are being made with respect to COVID restrictions and regulations. But I just want to reiterate, we are following the advice of the Chief Medical Officer. The Chief Medical Officer and her team are the experts and the professionals. And if they believe that things are safe for us to go in a certain direction, I have full confidence in that team and the guidance that they are providing to us as municipality will be followed. And you may not like the decisions or the results, but the reality is that this is probably the start of our new normal within the town of Placentia. And as we navigate through this, it is not easy. It's going to be difficult. And we just ask for people's patience, not asking you to agree with every decision that we make, just respect the decisions and respect others within the community. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councillor Fitzpatrick. Deputy Mayor.
I just got a couple of things. A lot of the topics that were already discussed touched by other councillors. The first one, I guess, was I know Berkeley Maroney retired this year. He was with the town probably 20 years in the role of cleanup and a seasonal worker. So I'd like to just wish him the best and as he moves forward in another chapter of his life, and thank him for his service with the town of Essentia. The other one thing is that last week was Municipal Awareness Week. And given all the circumstances and all the social media and with regards to what's going on with council, it has been not easy for council and staff. We certainly will get beat up in social media at times, council and also our staff. And what we're doing is we're doing things in the best interest of the public. And I think it's fair to say that each councillor here is trying to do the best job they can with the safety of the public in mind. And we take guidance from the town and employees who are also doing an outstanding job every day, caring for the town and doing everything they can. So I'd just like to take a moment to say thank you to my fellow colleagues and to the staff, council, inside, outside workers for the great work that they does. And sometimes, you know what, we get fair and want the criticism, but we'll take that and let you know that you are recognized and valued in your in the job you do. And other than that, that is it for me. I'd just like to thank Mary and Rhonda for the last probably 3 or 4 weeks putting up with me. A lot of phone calls back and forth on discussions about the boardwalk, the gymnasium, and also the playgrounds. Just thank them for their time and energy and trying to get the best possible solution for everybody following the guidelines that are outlined for us. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And yes, I reiterate, Berkeley Maroney, he's retired. He was certainly, face to be known around in the summertime with a lot of the maintenance on the go. And Mr. Maroney decided he was going to retire, and we wish him well in his retirement. Many years of happiness. Finally, Councillor Collins.
I got a couple of things there. One of the things that Councillor Fitzpatrick has spoke on is the COVID-19 and the rules and that. I'm just asking people, like, if it is that you run into a situation where you're out walking or whatever, and you can't be 6 feet apart, just turn your back to each other and walk. Today I was at the greenhouse in Dunville, and I was coming in one way, and there was 2 seniors coming up towards me, and we were close distance. So I just said to us, I'm not being ignorant, I'm just turning my back with the rules, and everything was fine with it. But I'm just asking you, like, if you're too close, just turn your back to each other, just, to respect each other. And I notice that a lot of people are respecting each other with the COVID rules. Also, I want to remind the general public and anybody who's out in this heat and humidity, be very careful because, like we're out walking, we're exercising, we're doing different things, and we're sweating in it, we're losing our water. So just make sure that we drink plenty of fluids while we're at it on the medical side of it. Also, to all pet owners, just remember that your pet should not be out in extreme temperatures. They can handle it. They have no, unless you have a good cool spot for them to hide in, a good cool shaded area. But I'm just asking people to be, cognitive of their animals and the heat and the issues that can cause. It can cause you undue medical bills, vet bills, if you don't, keep an eye to your animals. That's about it.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Collins. Seeing everybody's done, we're done our agenda. Thank everybody again for the time, and certainly there, yes, these are trying times for council and staff as well. I thank everybody for the patience, understanding, and their commitment to, the residents and the taxpayers, and to everybody out here in trying to do a job that we are tasked with. So I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Collins, second by Councillor Fitzpatrick. All in favor? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.